welcome. This is the first cooking class today, and I've been just informed that they're going to film us and put it on YouTube. So it's a little bit of pressure for me. I have to be careful what I say. So today we're going to make one of the most important dishes in Ayurveda. We all know what Ayurveda is. That's why we come here to be acquainted a little bit more with it. Ayurveda is a 5,000 years old medicine from India, and to cook Ayurvedically means to cook according to those principles of knowing what your body type is and how to cook the food that's just right for you, that your body can utilize the best, and that you be happy and healthy for the rest of your life. So do you know what body type you are in Ayurveda? This is new to you. The best way to find out is to fill out a questionnaire. There's usually online, if you type it, search Ayurvedic body type, there'll be lots of different types of questionnaires, and you fill out honestly and sincerely about yourself, about your character, about your daily habits and so on. And in the end, when you add up all the numbers, you will get your body type. There's three basic types: Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Vata type is the one that's very skinny, either very short or very tall. We all know those people. Some of us are like that. Pitta is more like medium-sized body, and these are people who are very intense, very passionate, very fiery. Whereas the Vata people, they're more like floating around in space. In their mind, in their body, they're very quick to learn something but quick to forget. Pitta, they're very to the point, focused, and when they tell you something, you remember it. Because it's fire, it burns into your mind. And then you have the third type, which is Kapha, which is more like heavier constitution, heavier bones, more muscle, and other heavy stuff. And these are the people who are slower in their metabolism, slower in the way they think. And when they learn something, they remember it for the rest of their lives. Now, of course, most of us are actually a mixture of three types, not just one type. It's very rare to find just one type person. So in Ayurveda we have 7 different types, which are mixtures of those 3 basic ones. So it can be, like me, Pitta Vata, or it can be Kapha Pitta, it can be Vata Kapha, or anything in between. Okay, so that's a short introduction about what your starting point in this Ayurvedic cooking will be. To know who you are, what your body type is, and how to prepare food for your body type. This dish that we're going to make today, it's called Kitchari, is a combination of all these different spices that you see here, some vegetables, we have some rice and lentils in one pot. So it's really easy to make. Anybody can do it in something like half an hour, 40 minutes. So it's especially convenient when you're working and you come home, you can't spend 2 hours now cooking for you and your family, but you want something that you will get nutrition, wholesome nutrition from it. So this is the easiest way to do that. I would love to talk to you more about Ayurveda and so many things, but we have to start cooking. That's why you're here, for practical things. So, we are making a vegan dish, and one of the main ingredients will be coconut oil. To make something vegan, you switch to good quality oils, whether it's olive oil or in this case coconut oil. In Ayurveda, traditionally in India, we use ghee. You're familiar with ghee? That's a clarified butter. Okay. But we're going to skip that and use coconut oil instead. I have prepared some things. I have washed basmati rice And these are lentils. They're called mung dal. If you know mungbonen, this is the same thing here, yellow. It's just that it's been peeled and cut in half. So it's the same lentil. This one we use for sprouting. You know sprouts, right? Sprossen. Whereas this is much easier to cook. You cook it at the same time as rice. Half an hour, enough. My friend, can I ask you for a favor? Kannst du mir ein Gabel oder zwei Gabel von unten für meinen Stand? Okay. Before we start cooking, we're going to prepare some spices. Here I have Ingwer. Ich kenne die deutsches Wort für die Zutaten, aber nicht alles auf Deutsch erklären. Okay, when it comes to ginger, the best way to use it is to, of course, first peel it, and we peel it by scraping it. I've seen some people cutting it like a potato, cutting underneath, but that's no good because you lose a lot. If you just do this, you just lose the minimum. Is this how you do it at home? You can also do it with a spoon, with the back of the spoon. Oh, you cannot hear me? Now it's better? Why don't you tell me? Okay, so piece of ginger, there's different ways we can deal with it. We can use the grater and make it fine. In this case, we're going to cut it. You know how in ginger there is hairs inside, and you don't want these hairs floating around in your food. So best way to deal with them, they always grow lengthwise. You cut it on 90 degrees into scheiben, into slices, like this. Just protect your fingers. Okay, once you have all the scheiben, you turn them around and you cut them into small julienne slices. And once again, so what you end up with is these small cubes. That's the easiest way to use the ginger. Besides ginger, we'll be using chili. Do you like chili? You like it a little bit spicy? If you don't, for those of you who are pitta body type, for instance, if you have a lot of fire in your body, then you skip the chili. You don't use the chili. But those of you who are vata body type, you're always cold. You're always feeling like the draft, and you're sensitive to the wind and the rain. So you need a little bit of help heating up your digestion, heating up your whole system. If you cut chili in half, you find lots of seeds and the white part inside. If you scrape this white part completely, you can still get the flavor of the chili, but not the heat. See? This is what's hot in the chili. Where is it? This white part inside. Okay, we make it a little bit hot, not half. Cut up the chili into small pieces. And now we can start cooking. 1 spoon of coconut oil. Yeah, it's working. Other spices we're going to use are cumin seeds. Auf Deutsch Kreuzkümmel. One of the most important spices in Ayurvedic cooking. You see all these spices we're going to use today. Another one is curcuma or turmeric in English. This is like my pharmacy at home. In my spice cupboard, this is all the medicine that I need. I don't need to go to pharmacy when I get sick. The principle in Ayurveda is it's much easier to prevent a disease than to get sick and then go to the doctor and try to get better. If you cook with these spices and with these pure ingredients, then you make your body immune. You make your body be able to fight off the disease before it comes on. If you eat ginger every day, then when it comes to winter, everybody around you will get sick, but you will not, because the ginger has built up your immunity throughout the year. So that's one of the most important things. Curcuma is one of the most intensely studied ingredients because it has so many medicinal properties, so many healing properties. How many people are we cooking for? Yes, you have a question. Can you mix them? I never thought about it because I either cook for vegans or I cook for vegetarians. For vegetarians it's ghee, for vegans it's coconut oil. But if you are both, you can mix them. Yeah. Ghee is really, really good for you. But if you have these principles of vegan lifestyle, then you skip it. This is a very good alternative. Coconut oil. Okay. So, what we're going to do now is fry the spices first. Before we add the vegetables, before we add the rice. This is the important part. If you get this right, this spicing part, then your dish will taste authentically, like in India. If you don't get this right, then no matter what else you do okay, then you won't get the same taste. So, it's very important. First of all, the oil has to be quite hot. You shouldn't be smoking, just before the smoking point. Okay. I add cumin first, about 1 teaspoon of cumin, if you're taking notes, and it's going to crackle, it's going to jump. That's good, that's what we need. Next thing we're going to add chili and ginger. Mix that and give it about a minute for those spices to release their flavor into the oil. Now, some of the powdered spices we will not be adding directly into the oil because, like curcuma for instance, it's too fine powder. It's going to burn straight away. But first we're going to add our vegetables and other ingredients and then curcuma after that. In the meantime, I'll prepare some of the vegetables. This is sweet potato, Süßkartoffel. You cut them into small cubes. Some of the paprika or red pepper. These vegetables that I'm using today, this is just an example. You can use your favorite vegetables, it doesn't have to be this, and use what's in season. Check on your spices. The ginger should just get a little bit brown bits. You shouldn't get too dark. Medium heat. And one more vegetable we're going to use is cauliflower, Blumenkohl. And the way I do it is to separate pieces in such a way that you don't cut the whole way through. Just cut halfway through and then separate. The reason for that is you don't have this mess, you don't have these bits and pieces falling off the cauliflower. For instance, look at this. If I cut it the whole way down, there's lots of bits and pieces falling off it. Same thing with broccoli. It's just a simple tip. But now we have to hurry up before our ginger burns. Okay, vegetables. I almost forgot. This is asafoetida. We sprinkle asafoetida for 2 seconds. Very small amount, like 1/4 of a teaspoon, and then the vegetables. Asafoetida, I'll tell you a little bit more about it in a second, is a spice that needs heating up. That's why we put it in oil, to heat it up quickly, 2-3 seconds, and then vegetables, to release its flavor. Asafoetida is a spice that we use in Ayurvedic cooking that's very similar to onions and garlic in flavor, but it's totally different plant. It's a very long explanation how they get it. It's a root of a giant fennel plant, giant, and then they expose the roots, they cut the roots, incisions in it, and comes out like a resin out of it, like from a tree when you have this gummy looking stuff. That also comes from this plant. And then they dry it, and it's so intense in smell and flavor that if you had this resin at home, the whole house would smell on it. And it's not a very pleasant smell, like onions. You don't want your house smelling on onions. So you have to keep it like closed in a jar, in a vacuum, so it doesn't release flavor. This here is mixed with rice flour and curcuma, I think, so it's not as intense. That's why I can use a little bit of it. Okay, next spice is curcuma. About half a teaspoon. So I don't have any spoons here. I just have gobble. So I'm not measuring it, I'm just adding by looking. From experience, we know how much we need. Okay. When you're adding vegetables, take care that you cut them in such a way that they will cook at the same time. If something is hard, like a carrot, potato, you cut them into smaller pieces. If something is soft, like zucchini, pumpkin and so on, then you cut them in bigger pieces so they can cook all at the same time, because it's a one-pot dish. Okay, so here's the cauliflower technique again. Just separate. Halfway through and separate. No mess. You want to see what it looks like? See? Beautiful color. I can't show to everyone, but here's the first row. Thank you. Yes, it is. See, all the spices mixed with vegetables. We give them 3-4 minutes. And then we're going to add water and rice and lentils. So, any questions so far? Is this all clear? It's all good? Now, why are we doing this, frying the vegetables in spicy oil? It's because we get little brown spots on the vegetables. This is like putting them in the oven to roast them. You know how much better tasting they are when they are roasted than when they're just cooked or steamed. You get this extra flavor. So that's what I'm doing right now in the pot, without having to put them previously to bake in the oven. So I'm looking for that little brown bits. For that I need higher heat. Yes? Asafoetida, you can have a look and have a smell. It's written in English there on top. Asafoetida. So, I use it instead of onions. I generally don't cook with onions. I find them too strong. When I put onions in a dish, they overpower everything else. So you can't taste any of the subtle spices, you know? So this is just my style. It doesn't mean that you don't cook with onions and garlic. You do it the way you normally do. I'm just giving an alternative. Okay, so I'm happy with that. We're going to add water now. Half a pot to start with. Just water, yes. And some rice and lentils which are previously washed. You wash them in cold water and you just mix them around and then put it through a sieve. Okay. And this is the dish that from a small amount of vegetables and grains you make a big pot. So it's very economical. I've been making this for the last 25 years or so. I've been making in quantities from 2 people to 20,000 people. When we were in India, there was a big flood. The holy river Ganges flooded all the villages in that area of Bengal where I was. So we went there like a relief effort, and these villagers, 20,000 of them, didn't eat for 3 days. They would water until here. So we found some dry ground. We set up a big kitchen, pots 3 meters diameter, and you don't use a piece of wood, you know, like from the kitchen normal, but you use the ones that you use for the boat, for rowing, to mix all the food. And it's wood underneath for burning, and you cook it until you have the wood. It's not adjusting the heat, you know, how much you want it. And one of my jobs was to take a cooked food in a bucket with a ladle and go and feed this particular row of people who were all sitting down. I could never get there to where I was supposed to go. I got surrounded by all the people who were so hungry that they were begging, please, please give me some. And they have no plates. They have banana leaves, because banana leaves are so abundant everywhere. So they just pick banana leaf. From one leaf you make 20 plates. And it's all bio, and it's all compostable. So I still remember one man, he had only 2 small leaves combined together like this. As I was serving him, the food was dripping down from 2 leaves like that. And somebody else was collecting it underneath. Nothing was wasted. This is what it means to be hungry. Once you experience that, then you never can go somewhere and allow people around you to be hungry. I used to have my restaurant in New Zealand. This is why I speak English to you and not German, because I used to live last 14 years in New Zealand. My restaurant was called Space of Love. And in this cafe you can come and I'll feed you no matter how much money you have. I thought that food should be available to everyone, no matter whether you're living on the street, whether you're a student or a rich man. Everybody was the same in my eyes. We have free air, free water, should be free water, nowadays it's not. So the food should be available to anyone who needs it. So I fed people and I told them, give how much you can, what you have. Some people had no money, but they had energy. So they came and helped me in the kitchen. They washed the dishes, they helped me cut the vegetables, they were serving guests. So I always worked with volunteers, with young people. And it was successful. There was always enough money to pay the bills, enough money to live from what we were doing. And then the TV and the newspaper, they all found out about it. After 1 year, they came to film us. So it went nationwide, all over New Zealand. People were calling me, that's great what you're doing, we're going to come to your cafe when you come to Christchurch. This was Christchurch, one of the second biggest city in New Zealand. I even got the free website. Somebody called me, said, we are a website company we want to offer you a free website. Just send us a text and the photos and we'll make your website. I said, great, how do I say no to that? 3 weeks after this, the big earthquake happened in 2011, in February 21st, I think, 2 weeks before Japanese tsunami. I'm telling you all this because this is still cooking, so to fill up time. Big earthquake, 7.1 in Christchurch, and it was too much damage, too much trauma, and we couldn't reopen that cafe, so that was the end of Space of Love. But you can go to YouTube and find the Space of Love cafe. It's still there. Okay, now, can I ask you a question? Why did you come here to learn? What's important to you? Any question that is like pertinent to your life? I don't want to talk just on and on about my adventures in New Zealand. I want to talk about the things that are important to you. Yes, please. Dish. And you want to know why? Why? You see, sometimes I cook for Indian people and they tell me, oh, we know this dish, Kitchari. We eat it when we are sick. Oh, sorry. They say, Indian people, when I cook for them this dish, oh, we know it. We eat it when we are sick. And I tell them, if you eat this dish every day, you wouldn't get sick in the first place. So it's about this prevention that we were talking about. Ayurvedic doctors recommend this dish to people who are recovering from the illness. They're weak. They need food that will give them energy, that will give them all the nutrition they need. All the healthy fats, carbohydrates, protein, and so on, minerals and vitamins. And this is all combined into one pot. There's hardly anything you need. You can, of course, add a little bit of yogurt or salad or any savories to go with it, but this is your main dish. So people recovering from illness, they're able to digest it easy and absorb from it all the nutrition. Yeah, but as I said, it's not just for people who are recovering from illness, not just for sick people. You can eat this every day. I've been eating this every day pretty much for 20 or more years, and look at me, I'm fine. You don't have to eat it every day. I just love it so much. And there is variations. You don't have to always use the same lentils. You don't have to even use the same rice. You can change. If you have other favorite rice, you can use Italian risotto rice. You can use change to brown lentils or red lentils or these green ones. It's just remember, if you're working with these whole beans, you need to soak them 5 hours at least overnight into water, and then the next day you can cook them. What else? You change the spices. You don't like the spices I used? You use your own favorite. You can use mustard seeds, you can use coriander, you can use fennel, and so on. You make up your own combination. But there is, of course, endless variations, and according to your body type and according to what your doctor, Ayurvedic doctor, suggests, that's how you change the ingredients. Yes. When I'm making smoothies, like this is my stand down there, I would use fresh curcuma. For cooking, you can also use it, but it's kind of difficult to work with it. It's not like ginger. It looks like ginger, yes, but inside it's all orange and yellow. And when you peel it and when you cut it and when you mix it into something, everything becomes yellow. Your fingers are yellow, your chopping board is yellow, your knife is yellow, and it's kind of difficult to wash off and difficult to work with. So if you prefer it fresh, go ahead. This is, where's my curcuma? This is convenient, easier to use, and you don't lose anything. All the active components of the curcuma are there. it's traditional. It's been used like this for thousands of years. In India? Yes. Yes. It's very rare that you find that they use fresh curcuma. It's always like this. Whereas ginger, it's easy to work with. There is no coloring, and I showed you the way how I process it. Okay. Any other questions? Yes. Any time is good, but it's a good point. You reminded me to tell you how in Ayurveda we know when to eat and how much to eat according to the movement of the sun. We follow the sun, and for instance, when the sun is not visible overnight, it's recommended not to eat because your digestion is directly related with the sun movement. Overnight, your digestion is not working. If you eat something late in the evening, it will wait until the next day to be digested. Just as you're resting, sleeping, so your digestion is resting. When the sun comes up in the morning, your digestive juices are just waking up, just start working. You can only eat a small amount of food or light food, like fruit, like smoothie, juice, something light. Or if you're going to work that day, of course, have a little bit of porridge, half a flocken, cooked in a little bit of water, add some coconut milk or soy milk and so on. And then as the day progresses, when it comes to noon, when the sun is at the highest point in the sky, that's when you know you can eat a big meal. So this can be a big meal with little addition on the sides. As I said, you can have salad, you can have savories and so on, breads. And then as the sun goes down, you eat less and less. When it comes to 6 o'clock, that's kind of your sign. You shouldn't be after 6 o'clock because the sun is going down, and you will not be able to digest. You see, everything is given so much importance to how you digest the food. You can eat the best bio, the best organic ingredients, everything beautiful food, but if your digestion fire is not working, you will not be able to get all the nutrition that your body needs from it. So this is the most important part of your body. If this doesn't work right, you will get sick eventually. Yeah, because of undigested food. This undigested food accumulates in your intestines, and eventually it starts decomposing and creating what we say in Ayurveda, it's called ama, or poison. I'm adding a little water. As this thickens, it just needs to be maintained like a soup. All the rice and all the lentils, they will absorb the water. Okay. And at this point I would add salt. I recommend Himalayan salt, not because it's from India, but because it's full of minerals. You know that India millions of years ago was actually a separate continent. And how we get Himalayan salt is that the plates were moving and India started pushing against Asia and pushed up Himalayan mountains. Himalayan mountains are the youngest mountains on earth, and they've been pushed by this Indian subcontinent. So all this water that was trapped, it got dehydrated, and we get Himalayan salt, millions of years old, and its color, the pink, is from all the minerals, 74 minerals that are in there. So everything from calcium, magnesium, zinc, iodine, everything is in there. Really, really healthy. First choice. You see, in Ayurveda, we use our body as a measurement, how much we need. For instance, when I measure how much salt, I just put some in my palm, and I say, okay, I think this is okay. When it comes to ginger, we say 1 thumb size ginger. So everything can be related to your body, and not some external stuff. Another thing to this style of cooking is that when you're cooking, you want to be in a very peaceful state of being, consciousness. Take a minute before you start to just remember what are you about to do for the next hour or two. Why are you doing it? Are you doing it for the money or the fame? I'm going to be famous chef, everybody's going to know about me. No, you want to do it for love. You're feeding your family, you're feeding your friends who you invited for dinner. So everything that you are thinking and feeling during the process of cooking will go directly into this pot, into this dish. And when they taste it, they will be able to feel you, who you are, your energy, your consciousness. So this is the responsibility of a cook. You have to get yourself on a high frequency, high vibration, to be able to feed those people good food that will feed not only their bodies and their minds, but also their heart and their soul. So in this way, this is a wholesome process. It's like a meditation. You're just flowing and you're feeling. You're working with these beautiful ingredients. Each one of them is so precious. And you appreciate them and you just want to create something like a piece of art. It's not work for you. It's not something you have to do. After you've been working from 9 to 5, you come home, now I have to cook. I'm tired. But no, you get rested a little bit, then come back to the kitchen with a fresh mind and a fresh approach. And in half an hour you can do something like this. And just add little bits and pieces on the side. Is that a good plan? At least that's my idea. Any other questions? Who knows the time? We have to finish because there is the next one coming. I don't have any time with me. Oh, there. Yeah, we have 5 minutes. This will cook a little bit longer, and then later on, if you want to try, you meet me down there and buy a smoothie if you like. You definitely can, but it's much better tasting fresh, yes. And in India they cook it only how much you need for that one meal. In India, of course, in old days, they didn't have refrigerators, so rice is very tricky. Lentils not so much, but rice, you only cook how much you need for one meal. You don't save it for the next day. Rice very quickly develops bacteria and starts going bad. Of course, we all have refrigerators, so yeah, you cook it, you put it in the refrigerator and reheat it properly the next day. I wouldn't recommend microwave, of course, but put it in a pot, add little water and bring it to boil. That way you make sure that all the bacteria, the bad bacteria, is taken care of. Yes. But you will see, it's a dish that's much better tasting fresh than the next day. There are some other dishes. For instance, in my next cooking class tomorrow, if you do decide to come, we'll be making these mung beans. Mung beans, or the dal, is, if you cook it on its own, it's much better for saving for the next days. There is no rice content in it. It's cooked with all the spices, all the flavors that you need, and it's actually much better tasting the next day because all the flavors have combined and mixed together, and when you heat it up again, it's even better. Yeah. Anything else you want to know about Ayurveda and Ayurvedic cooking? I'm not very qualified. I never went to school to learn about this. But what I do have is experience. And I've traveled to India and I lived there as a monk. So we were cooking. We learned how to cook Ayurvedic way because we were cooking for all the monks, and there were nuns as well. So 3 months after I joined the temple, I was already cooking for 40, 50 people. And I never stopped since. And I'm happy to tell you that here with us we have Doris and Christian Kramer, who come from a seminar hotel in Bad Kolgrup, and they were so kind to offer me a job. So from August, September onwards, you can come and taste our food there. Yeah. Okay, I think we'll finish here. And as I said, those of you who want to try it, just come down and we'll talk some more. Thank you for your attention. Thanks.